Okay, I think around 45 people have come. So, so let's start. Okay. Um, all right, guys. Welcome to the final webinar. Um, you guys have finally made it. I mean, almost. It's 95% done. Your journey to Delft is, I would say, in the next couple of weeks. Okay. So, I don't know how many of you have been following us from the first webinar. But we've been discussing right from the basics and then about getting a housing. And today we're gonna round it all up. All right. So right now, most of you are familiar with the process, and most of you have got a house, and also most of you have already got your MVB visa. So right now, you are in the midst of planning out stuff and then packing everything. And the information that would be most helpful to you right now would be the practical aspects of reaching Delft. And that's what we are going to deal with in today's webinar. Okay. So I'll just run through the agenda of today. Um, so, uh, so basically, we will keep it to 2 hours. We're planning to keep it to 2 hours. And the first hour is basically going to be this presentation. And we have specifically curated this presentation based on the questions that we have received from you guys. So since we don't have a lot of time to specifically answer each and every question, um, so we try to keep information as much as possible in this presentation. And there are quite a lot of questions that are not answered in this presentation, but which we'll be answering in the final 1 hour of our Q&A session. And yeah, so basically we'll be talking about all the things that you need to carry because you've also got to optimize on space and weight because you can't carry each and every single thing. So we'll be talking about it, some general stuff that you need to bring, and some things which are not worth carrying because you also get a lot of things here. Some things are considerably more expensive when you compare that to India. So we'll be recommending some items that you should be getting from India, but some are comparable, so you can as well as get it over here. Also, we will definitely keep in mind that you guys are not. I mean, the spendings that you have in the first month is not definitely at your discretion because you will be basically bringing money in cash or forex, and then you'll have to wait for a bank account to get everything started. So then there's also some stuff that you can get here, but which we would recommend bringing from India because you don't want to really spend too much uh, uh, of your cash which you have brought in forex basically. Then we'll move ahead from that, and then Jabez will be talking about the practical aspects of what to do after coming to Skipboard. Because you're not just traveling all by yourself; you're traveling with 40 kilos of luggage, and that's a different thing. All right. So, how do you actually get to Delft, and from Delft to your accommodation? So we'll be discussing that, and I'll be covering some parts related to the summer IP, your introduction program, and also I'll also be talking about the residence permit correction and the BSN registration, and then we'll head on to the Q&A session. Okay, so I think we'll head to Fatah's part, and Fatah will be talking about all the things that you need to carry and general stuff and everything. Yeah.
Just a minute, yeah. So, things to carry. I presume a lot. Am I audible, first of all?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, I believe that everybody would have started packing at least, take out the suitcase, dust them off, and start thinking about, okay, what you need to carry. I think the first thing is like a very descriptive slide here. So, I would say the meeting is being recorded and you can take screenshots as well. So, and everything is there in the guide, coming to Delft guide, that ISA guide. So regular clothing, of course, and good quality thermal jacket. I would say buying it in India, in certain parts of India, definitely is cheaper. I think in north of India, it's a bit cheaper. But you can, for example, also go to stores like H&M and Primark and buy good winter jackets as well. But again, this is like very subjective, and that comes down to the amount of money you want to carry with your Forex card and cash versus what you want to bring from home, like what Joseph mentioned in the beginning. I would say all electronics, laptops, phones, definitely it's good to have all the cables and the accessories that you need in terms of electronics. Definitely an Indian to EU pin converter. You need to get 3 to 4, I would say as many as you can. Keep one in your bag always, because I cannot tell you the number of times I've gone to the library only to realize I didn't bring the converter. I can't use my laptop for more than an hour. So it's good to have that, a lot of that. And if possible, if space permits, a small toolkit, because you would be buying a lot of second-hand things, or you would be trying to fix some things by yourself. So having a screwdriver definitely helps. Pressure cooker, you need to see based on which house you're moving into, because sometimes if it's a shared accommodation, and if you know your housemates already and things like that, this is something that you can sort of organize by yourself. A few people can bring, because you don't need like 4 pressure cookers in a house. So you can organize that by yourself. And also, it's very important to check the sort of stuff that you have. I believe most of duo housing right now has switched to non-fire electric stuffs, which is not induction. Maybe it still works, but if you have an induction cooktop, you need to make sure you have a compatible one. And goes without saying, get extra gaskets, safety valves. I believe you do get it in Bahar and Nisarga, but why pay more when you can just get it? Utensils, a lot of it, pans, yes, you can buy from IKEA. Again, in terms of finances, it's very important for you to plan. If you are short on space and you're not carrying all of these things, make sure that you consider this expenditure in the money, in your Forex card, and the money that you get. So a tawa, kadhai, and non-stick pan. For example, amongst my housemates, it was lucky for us because I was living in a 7-person house. Sounds chaotic, but somehow it worked out. All of us brought different things. For example, one of my friend got a pressure cooker. I got the chapati tawa and kadai and things like that. So that's something you can organize if it's a shared house. And groceries for a week or two actually does help. Things have changed right now, but back when I came in 2021, there was also COVID. So there was like a quarantine where for 5 to 10 days you cannot leave the house. So that becomes even more important. And I believe you're going into a new place, a new environment. Even though all of us are helping you with all this information, it is going to be overwhelming. And it's good to have at least easy to eat things, easy to make groceries that you can just do to survive for the initial few days before you want to step outside your comfort zone and start exploring. So, rice pulses, that I leave it up to you. This is just a recommendation. Spices and tea powder available, expensive, of course. And I think, at least with respect to some spices, they're not very strong as you would get in India. So that is also one thing to keep in mind. For example, I always try to get garam masala from India. So, uh, moving on the same theme, ready to eat food, like I said, something that helps you just cook and eat something in the initial weeks before you want to start going outside and exploring. And all the other things like tongs, tea strainer, you can get these in IKEA. There are, I would say, equivalent in pricing, at least because when you compare it to the IKEA in India. So it is equivalent for that. And even for the thermal jacket, I would say if you're thinking about getting it from Decathlon, I would say it's the same price. You can just get it here. So moving on, sewing kit, I'm not sure if you fancy that, but definitely for buttons and things like that, I think it helps. Although I've never really like broken a button in the 3 years I've been here. And medicine kit, definitely very subjective. Again, depends on your medical conditions and what you have. But a general kit in terms of having bandage and some neosporin or some antiseptic and some paracetamols just to have that handy does help. And then people with glasses, of course, try to get spare glasses. as many as you can. I got like one extra pair along with the sunglasses, just to make sure, because if you're playing sports or if something happens and glasses break, even to get a very, let's say, bare minimum basic glasses from a shop here in Netherlands would cost around 100 to 150 euros. So, and that's not even like a good quality. Like it's a bare minimum basic one that you can get. So it is very expensive. Try to get that. And scientific calculator based on the master track that you're doing. Uh, Mostly, if you're coming from an engineering background, you would have a scientific calculator lying around from your bachelor. Try to get that. And because for some courses, they have very different rules in terms of what sort of a calculator is allowed. Because usually in the courses in mechanical engineering, I remember them being very strict about not allowing graphing calculators or calculators that are programmable, because then you can just put in Python scripts and you can like, they assume you can cheat with that. So that's one thing to remember. And yeah, the last point, yes, of course, subjective, whatever you want to bring. For example, I got cameras and lenses because I like photography. And musical instruments, I'm not very sure. But I think in my year, people did get like guitars, and there's some very cool looking air drumstick kit that someone got. Yeah, so things like that. Definitely, I leave it up to your discretion. Uh, and moving on to the general things that, considering you have some time right now, at least 2 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks before you come here, good to visit the dentist, eye doctor, and just to get a complete health checkup. Because again, here, if you want to order any diagnostic test yourself, you pay it out of your pocket, and ad- uh, and sometimes insurance doesn't cover it because that's something that you ordered, and that's not necessary. So definitely the dentist and eye doctor, and copies of your original certificates, and keep them handy in your along with your certificates, because I believe you have to get your originals to because there is like a random verification process in Delft. And also leave a set at home, of course. Haircut, yes, it's actually right now I think the minimum is 18 euros, so it has increased in the past few months. So I mean, yeah, get a haircut. And a forex card. I have seen a lot of discussion in the WhatsApp group about this, and I feel like we have already commented a lot about this. And people have a general idea. But let's say just a ballpark figure is 500 in Forex and 200 to 500 in cash, because sometimes the Forex card doesn't work because it's a MasterCard or a Visa, which I think some supermarkets and some stores do not accept. That is when you need the cash. And sometimes when you're buying a bike or buying secondhand things, they prefer things in cash. So it's good to have a bit of cash. And prescriptions for the medicines that you're carrying, paracetamol, ibuprofen, and these sort of medicines are over the counter, so they don't really need a prescription. But just to be safe, it's easy to get a prescription from a family doctor with all the medicines that you're carrying. And it's good to carry some antibiotics. And like if you know you fall sick few times a year, for example, I made sure I got some antibiotics because I know that I would need it, because here they would not prescribe you antibiotics without you falling really sick. So if you know something works for you, if your family doctor knows and your family knows, try to get that in like 6 to 12 month of requirement, as per your requirement. Passport size photos, of course, you would have clicked some for your visa, and all the other like the preparing documents phase to come here. So get the extra copies that you have, because clicking pictures here again expensive. Rental contracts, it's good to carry in your hand luggage, because at the immigrations, maybe they ask for it, usually they don't, but then it's like having the admit letter and the rental contract is good proof that okay, you're coming here and this is where you're going. And again, insurance has been a very has had a lot of discussion in the group. But again, to reiterate, these three are the options: I2S, OOM, and Aeon. And I believe some of them include visa. Sorry, they include the coverage right from the travel from India. But make sure about that, and if not, then get a good travel insurance, because It's you're traveling probably alone and then with a lot of luggage, so it's good to have that safety net. Casual wear and formal wear, as more importantly, I would say formal wear. Get for the men here, it's a suit, and for women, maybe like a good dress, a formal dress, which you could wear if you're going for like a networking event with companies or in your final thesis defense or any like let's say professional setting. It's good to have that. You can buy it here, but again, factor that expense into your money that you carry. Watch and sunglasses, again, subjective. Travel documents, yes, like I mentioned, apart from having a rental contract and your admit proof of enrollment mentioned here, travel tickets, try to get a printed copy again because I never trust phones and I don't want to believe like completely rely on the battery of my phone working and my phone not being stolen. So good to have printed copies and of your signed contract and also passport with the MVV sticker. Try to have copies of your passport in your bag as well, just to be safe. And the last point is get an international roaming pack at least for 2 to 7 days. I went for the lower one. I think I just took it for 2 days, just enough for me to get started on day one because so you usually going to an accommodation which has Wi-Fi, so you can survive. But again, for that initial checking Google Maps, checking how to travel, it's good to have that internet and good to get a roaming pack. Example, Jio has something, and I think all the network providers do have one. I believe my part is done, and next is Jabez.
Things not to carry is also your part, right?
Is it?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Things not worth carrying. Blender, hair dryer. I don't know. Again, up to you. Most of these things can be bought very cheaply from Action here. Blender, I would say some of us did carry like a NutriBullet, the small one. That did help. But again, you can find blenders on Amazon here in the Netherlands, and the prices are pretty much equivalent, comparable. Again, frying pans and saucepans, if you have the space, yes, but it's not worth carrying in terms of weight, at least, because what you can is get foods that you will not get here. For example, I really wanted some of what my grandmother makes or something that my mom makes. Make sure that I pack a lot of it so that I can throw it in the freezer and I can use it when I need it. So try to get things that you will definitely not get here, like home cooked food in some form. Boxes, yes. You get very cheap boxes here in Action, so that's not worth carrying. Stationery notebooks, you can carry at least a little bit to get started, but you have shops like Hema and Action again. It is a bit pricey, but again, it's reasonable. And you do get free notebooks in some faculties. And winter wear, like I said, because these are very heavy and very fluffy, carrying it does take a lot of space and your weight. You can buy in Primark, H&M, and even second-hand like vintage clothing shops where you get some really nice jackets for a really low price. I think the very, let's say, the durable, no-nonsense jackets, you can get it from Decathlon. And if you are planning to get it from India, then it's the same price. IKEA and Decathlon are the same price, comparable when it's to India or here in Europe. And shoes, I think, yeah, unless you're a sneakerhead, I think Jabez got, I don't know how many shoes from home. He wears a new shoe every time I see him, so I don't know. That I leave it down to you. I personally got like just one good formal shoes, one like a regular wear, and one like slippers, Crocs. And yeah, if you really are a fashion Nazi and don't want to wear Crocs, and find something more comfortable. And a lot of rice and pulses, yes, just get enough that you know you will use for just the initial few days of getting set up. But you can buy these things here, and these are reasonable again from Indian stores like Bahar and Nisarga, and and are very close. They are within Delft and they're not too far, so it's not worth carrying so much of it. And yeah, I think the final point is that yes, the groceries that you carry should be just for a few weeks and just like initial setup, and just so that you don't spend you don't have to carry a lot of money in your forex card. And that is something that you can decide for yourself. You can even go the other way and say that, okay, I will just get more money on my Forex card and buy things over here. That is also fine. So,
So I just want to add one point to what Fatah said. In terms of stationery, I have a friend who's in architecture and she keeps crying about how expensive stationery is here. And if you have something, like pertinent to your course, like I don't know the specific about the stationeries, the I don't know, the pencil set or something like that. Like if it's very expensive here, I think it's better you can carry it from India because I remember her carrying a lot of things from India because it's really expensive here. So it's mostly, related to your course. So I think you know better than that.
yeah, I think that's a fair point. Yeah, because I am thinking from an engineering point of view, and all I
Yeah,
needed was like just one pen that writes. So
yeah,
I think for design students, yes, definitely.
yeah.
And
Okay, so where do I buy my stuff in Delft? So, as Fatah covered, utensils and appliances, the best place to go is Action, Bloker, or IKEA. So, when I came here, it was really sunny here, and we don't have air conditioning in Duo. So, it was really hot, so I needed a fan. So, I got it from Bloker. So, it was around 19 euros. So, I think Bloker is pretty cheap, and rest of the things you can find in IKEA. And in terms of furniture, I don't think you will need to buy furnitures. So, but if you're in need, I think the best place to go would be IKEA. And in terms of groceries, so I live right next to architecture. So I live in MDR. So Yambo and Alberton is very close to me. I mean, Yambo and Alberton is right near the center. So I go to Yambo, and sometimes I go to Alberton as well. And I still don't know the difference in price. I'm still trying. I don't know which one is the cheaper one. People have differing opinions. So
I think,
I go
sorry
to
to interrupt. There was a survey that said that Dirk was the cheapest. And this was
okay.
last year, I think. But it's they you have a Dirk in like the De Hoven Passage
Mm,
stores. But Albert Heijn, I think, offers like a good deal. So I think Albert Heijn is a good store.
yeah, exactly. So, I used to go to both Yumbo and Albertine, and once I need to get coffee, and I went to Yumbo. I mean, I like Yumbo because it's more bright and lively. Yumbo shopping at Yumbo is just an experience for me. So I went there to get coffee, and I got this coffee for 12 euros, and then I went to Albertine. There was an offer going on, and it was for 4 euros. I'm like, oh shit! I just spent 8 euros more on coffee. So it's more about preferences. So there is also Aldi and Lidl. You can go there. So as Fatah said, Dirk is the cheapest. So it's more about convenience and cost. Like since Yumbo is closer to me, I go to Yumbo. Like if Dirk is closer to you, you can go. It's more about your preferences. And in terms of Indian spices and groceries, I usually go to Bahar and Nisarga. I'm not sure what the other two are. Maybe
Polat is like I think it's a Polish Turkish store, I think.
okay,
And I think it's like right next to Action, like in the rear side, if you go
okay.
right next to that. And Ozalk, I think this is a Polish store, and Polat is the Turkish one.
Mm-mm-mm.
They have a really good meat section, a meat aisle, I think, even better than Bahar, I feel. But
Oh, really?
yeah, it's like I feel
Oh,
they have a lot more options in terms of meat, and we don't really go there because, again, I am just used to buying more just chicken. And you want to
yeah.
explore more different kinds of meats, I think uh,
Mm-mm-mm.
Ozark does have a lot of options.
So yeah, in terms of Indian snacks and food, I usually go to Bar and Nisarga. So these are the options. And in terms of toiletries, there's Krudwad and then Vibra. And like mostly in Krudwad, you get this 1+1 offer. So if you need to buy in bulk, you can just get it. And there's also Etos, which is near the center, which is not here. They also have really good offers going on. Like, if you get two shampoos, you get, 2+2 offer, or if you get one body wash, you get, 1+1 offer, things like that. So you can just have a look at all these places, note it down, or like once you come here, you will just, like while you roam around Delft, you will probably figure this out. And in terms of general items and stationaries, Hema, Action, and Burna. So these are your options. So EMA is I think you can find everything in EMA, right? Like it's more like I don't know if people are. I don't know. It's like a Chennai reference. It's like the Saravana stores of Netherlands, probably. Mm, so these are the things you can have a look at this and probably note it down if you know like need to buy a few things or a couple of things during your initial weeks in Delft. And lastly, a Dutch SIM card. I wouldn't recommend you get buying a SIM card from a grocery store because you know you get a free SIM card during IP. You also get it along with your duo housing, and there are associations that give out SIM cards as well. So I still have a couple of Libera SIM cards lying around in my house. So I wouldn't recommend buying a SIM card. And my experience with SIM card is I have a like you know I needed I mean I didn't have a slot in my phone, so I wanted this what do
eSIM.
you call the eSIM? Yeah, exactly. I wanted eSIM and Libara doesn't offer eSIM, so I had to you know go to T-Mobile for that. So that is the only you know pros and cons of Libera. And I think like it is free, right? Like Libera to Libera is free, and Libera to other networks is also free. So it's mostly about a difference. So I pay around 20 euros per month for my plan, and the cheapest with T-Mobile is around like 12 euros, I guess. So Libara is relatively cheaper. Like Libara, I think you can find a really good plan for around 8 euros. But since I had this eSIM issue, I had to go with T-Mobile. So it's up to you guys. Like, you know, even if you are in the similar situation as me, then you can probably go with T-Mobile, which is called Odido now. Or if you have a SIM slot in your phone, you can go with Libara. And please don't get a SIM card. You will be getting one during IP or with your duo housing.
Because I also remember from Lebara, at least, I'm not sure about the other providers. With Lebara, I could just order a SIM for free and then like take the package in their app. I just had to
Yeah.
then call the number, the activation part, yada yada yada.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And the thing is, I am on a contract as well. It's a 2-year contract. And with Libara, you can have this prepaid thing, right? Where you just top up every month or so. I'm not sure.
yeah, you can do
Yeah.
that, but even I would say the 2-year contract is still the cheapest. For
Cheaper
reference,
one. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I get like I pay 7.5 euros, and for that I get 5 GB of data and limited calls to Lebara to non-Lebara, but to Lebara it's unlimited, and I get
Mm.
like 150 text messages or something like that. So because
Yeah.
I do a lot of just I am on Wi-Fi at home or
Yeah,
anywhere,
exactly.
I don't
But
need
if
the
you're traveling, I think you will really need I mean a good internet, right? Because I'm not sure if you'll find Wi-Fi in you know like if you go to eastern part of Europe or things like that.
yeah
So
true.
right now my experience with T-Mobile has been really good. I mean because as I mentioned, I already paid 20 euros and I'm logged in for 2 years now. So if I want to change my contract or if I want to switch to KPN, I have to buy out my contract. So like you know, make a wise choice during your initial period, like you know what you want to do, and choose a good plan. Okay. So next, so getting to Delft. So once you arrive in Schiphol, how do you get to Delft? So mostly, if you are with duo housing, you will have a like you know an extensive documentation on how to arrive to Delft. But still, we are covering this. So once you land at Schiphol, like the first thing you go through is immigration. So from my experience, when I went through immigration, the first thing they asked me is my purpose of visit. So when I told them I'm here for my master's, they asked me for my proof of enrollment. So which I already printed it out, and I showed them my proof of enrollment. And once I showed them that, they asked me if I have a housing in Delft, and they asked me where I'm going to stay. I told them I'm going to live in Delft. They asked me if I already have a housing in Delft. I told them yes, but they didn't ask me for my rental contract. But it is really important to carry your rental contract as well. So please carry it. And once you're done, I think it was hardly 5 minutes, and like it was relatively quick. So once you're done with immigration, the next thing you do is you claim your baggage, and then you get out from the airport, and you have signages all over the airport. So it is relatively simple to get out of the airport. Let's say you want to take a cab, or if you want to take a bus, there are signages pointing you in the right direction. So once you get out of the airport. I think once you leave the airport, you will find like you have to come upstairs for the train station. So how do you? I would recommend download. Please download the NS app and the 9292 app, which is really helpful. So that before you come here, you can know if you like what trains to take, what is the timing of the trains, and what like if you have to switch in between or things like that. So once you, I think I don't know, like people have differing opinions. I wouldn't recommend taking an anonymous OV chip card because it costs you €7, right? I think if you like tap out, it's the same amount. So like you can just use your like Forex or your credit card to like make the first initial train ticket. You can buy the first initial train ticket. So so before you come, please go through the app and just put in your location, your housing location, and look at the directions in the app. And once you get the train ticket, like it's up to you. You can get an anonymous OV chip card, or you can just use your contactless card, which works in Netherlands. So buy a train ticket and then you can just board the train. So once you reach Delft, there is a bus stop right opposite to the train station. So and similarly, you can still use the 9292 app. From the Delft station to you can put in your housing location. You will find the nearest bus stop. So you can also again you can use a OV chip card or your credit card or your Forex for the bus. So take the bus and you can reach the your location. So what did I do? So I personally I took a cab from the airport to my housing because we were four of us. So like we thought we were better off taking a cab, and it cost us around I think €120. But our flight was delayed by 2 hours, so like he just asked us to pay 20 more euros. So it was around €140. Like if you ask me if it's worth it, I would say I mean, like I'm just lazy, to make the carry my. I had three bag, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it in my first day. So I thought I was better off taking a cab. So it's up to you guys. It's more about your convenience versus cost. So whichever you choose. So the cheaper option would be to take a train. But if you prefer to take a cab, you can still do that. So let's say one for one it's around €120, so it's around €40 each. If you can find friends who live right in your housing or right next to your housing, you can share the cab with them. So once you reach
Or yeah, for reference, I think with the train and the tram and everything, roughly it costs around 17 to €20.
yeah,
So
so it's
almost,
double of that, right? If you take a cab, it's double of that. Yeah.
yeah.
So as I mentioned, it's about convenience and cost. So once you reach your house, like it depends on when you reach your housing. Like if you reach earlier than before, I mean, if you reach before your contract starts, you won't be getting your keys. You have to find housing for yourself until your contract starts. But if you reach Delft after your contract starts, you can contact your RA and get your keys from them, and that's it. You can just chill there until IP starts.
Hey, yeah, so before heading on to the introduction program, I would also like to add on to what Jabez and Fatah said. So there are a lot of stuff, and I also saw it in the chats also. Like people are limited in baggage space. There are a lot of things in the ISA transition guide that are mentioned that can really take up your space in baggage. Okay. So one thing that you need to take into consideration is that of course, if you buy things firsthand from Delft or in the Netherlands, it can be a bit more expensive than in India, but there's also an option as to buy it secondhand. And the secondhand market in the Netherlands is really good. Like most people don't buy first-hand stuff here. For example, I bought some of my furniture and my fan, whatnot, a lot of stuff, my shoe rack and whatnot, just through a second-hand store, and it's called Marktplaats. So and also a Facebook Marketplace is also a very good option. So it's just like OLX, and you can bargain the prices and you can get it for like really good deals. Okay. So if, for example, I saw in the chat, someone asked about, having to bring like a toolkit. So if you really don't have the space for it, then you can come here and get it. Okay, so that should be fine. All right. So I'm heading over to my part, and that's the introduction program. Well, so coming to the first and the most common question that I've seen in the group is that, okay, if I miss out on the IP, will I miss out on anything? Well, the IP is a really good week to chill, relax, and see the university, see different faculties, which I would say if you start your master's program, maybe you might not get the opportunity to do that. Because, for example, I am from aerospace, and aerospace is at some corner of the university, So once I started my master's program, I really never had the opportunity to come and explore other faculties as well. So the IP was when I did that. And there are certain faculties in TU Delft that I visited during the IP, and then I haven't been there ever since. So IP is like a wonderful way to get to know people from other faculties, get to know facilities in other faculties, and also to get to know Delft in general. Okay, so it's like a week where you can really, really take a back seat, relax, because I know it's been like a long ride for you guys, So you've been through a long process, and now is the time to relax. And then before the quarter gets hectic, the IP provides you with that space. Okay, so but if you do miss out on the IP, you're not gonna miss out on much. I would say, like, to be honest, you're not gonna miss out on a lot of things. I mean, it's not gonna affect your master's program in any way. One thing that I would recommend to not really miss out on is the faculty specific introduction program, and that's during the last week of August. So if you're planning to come late due to practical reasons, or you just want to spend more time with your family before starting a master's program, it's fine. But do make it in time until the faculty specific introduction program. Okay. So yeah, so this is the outline of the IP. I'm sure most of you guys would have gone through it. There will be a bike sale on Sunday, and there are certain things you need to keep in mind during the bike sale. The bike sale will be really crowded. A lot of people will be selling the secondhand bikes. Secondhand bikes during the bike sale tend to be a little bit overpriced. And I know a lot of people who have just rushed into getting their bikes and found themselves having to do a lot of maintenance on the bikes, especially the bikes that they've got from the IP bike sale. So the IP bike sale, you might be lucky to get into a really, really good deal. But always, keep it in the back of your mind that, whenever you're buying a second-hand bike, always look into the specifics, bargain a lot. Okay, like people will be starting at around 200 euros asking price. So look into the bike, think for yourself, make your own judgment whether it's worth to spend 200 euros, because you can as well as go to Decathlon and get a new bike for 220 euros, and that's brand new. Okay, so and of course you're buying a second-hand bike, so there'll be maintenance costs along the way. So make a decision for yourself. Don't rush into things. So that's the bike sale part, and then on the 19th or the 20th, you see a space for Welcome Activities International Associations, it should be after 6 in the evening. So ISA is planning to host a fun event for all of you, which will, I would say, 90% be free because we are also receiving support from TU Delft. But we will be letting you know the details in the coming days. All right, once we finalize the event and everything. So in a nutshell, enjoy the IP. It's going to be fun. All right. Yeah. So let's move on. The IP. Yeah. Yeah. Now coming to an important part, and that's the residence permit and the BSN. The residence permit, I believe you guys might have got a mail from the contact center informing you about 3 dates, right? 24th August, 14th September, and 5th October, where you can go and receive your RP. Now, from what I got to know, most of you will be having your residence permit collection on the 24th of August, and that is on Saturday, just following the IP. Okay. and that is a week ahead of when we received our IP on, if I remember correctly, it was on the 2nd of September. So that should be well in time for you to activate your bank account and to get started. So usually you get your refund from TU Delft within 10 days of submitting your bank details. So you set up an account, you activate your bank account, and then you submit your bank details to TU Delft, and within 10 days you get your refund. Okay, so you should be hopefully getting a refund by, I would say, the 2nd week of September, if you get your RP by 24th of August, which most of you will. All right. But I do believe there are certain bank accounts like APN Amro that you can just start a bank account right away, even when you're from India. But you can only activate it with your BSN number. Okay, so most bank accounts require that you need to have the RP, but I think ABN AMRO just needs you to upload either the RP or the BSN letter that you receive from the municipality. Okay. Yeah, so coming to the BSN. So BSN is the first thing that you've got to do once you're in the Netherlands. Okay. So if most of you, if you got housing, if you got a place to stay, and take an appointment at the earliest available opportunity at the municipality that is closest to you. Most of you are in Delft, so you can go to Clemente in Delft. And just register yourself. It's like a legal process, so don't delay it further, because they also need information about you for you to stay here. Okay. And it's just a very simple process. It just takes, I think, around 15 minutes. So it's not a hassle. So you can go in between your IP and register yourself. It's not a big deal. All right. So yeah, one very, very important thing is, do not share your BSN with anyone. Okay, even if they offer you free food. All right. So your BSN is the most important. It's like the social security number. It's the burger service number. So it's related to everything that you do in the Netherlands. So do not share your BSN with absolutely anyone, even with your closest friends. Right? Keep it for yourself. So also, yeah, uh, this is the link if you want to book an appointment at the Delft municipality. And also for municipalities other than Delft, you can just search it up online. It's not a big task. But do look for certain specific document requirements. For example, if, as far as I know, in Delft and in Rijswijk, you don't definitely need an apostille birth certificate. Okay, that's what I got to know. But if, for example, you have got a house in The Hague, you've got housing somewhere else, that might be a requirement. So do look for how to get your documents apostilled. Take, I think, 2 to 3 sets of copies of the apostille certificates and bring it along with you. All right. Also for the BSN, the requirements, I think those of you who have taken an appointment might have got a mail from the MND saying that you need a passport copy, the MVV, the page with the MVV. You need to take a copy of that. You need to also take a copy of a printout of the confirmation mail that you got from contact center saying that your visa has been approved. Okay. Of course, the signed rental contract. And for people who have found a housing in which the house owner has specifically communicated to you that you might not have a rental contract, but then we will do something like we can register you as being part of a family or friends or something. That's also possible. But again, getting a housing without a contract is up to you. It's on your own risk. Okay. But for those people who have done that, there is something called consent to cohabitation, which I think you'll receive the link to it when you take an appointment at the Chementech. So they'll send you a mail, and in that you'll find a link, or you can just search it up online. Okay, so it's not a huge deal registering for your BSN, then going to collect your residence permit. Going to collect your residence permit is far easier. The only thing that you'll have to deal with is, it was a bit crowded last time. So we had to wait in a queue for like, I had to wait at least a couple of hours to get my RP, because people from all over the Netherlands were coming in to collect their RP, and we had to travel all the way to Utrecht and come back. Okay, that was like a 2.5 hour journey. But I think the batch before us, they got their RP just at Ola. Ola is like the the main auditorium here at TU Delft. So it was just, you can just go collect and come back. Okay. So that's all about RP and BSN side. Yeah. So yeah, we move on to the question and answer session. So yeah. So first, hold on. Fatah, do you have the questionnaire with you? Just I can send it to you.
Yeah, just send it to me and then I can start sharing my screen again.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I've got it. So we had sent in a document in which we had asked you to put all your questions. So we basically curated the content of this webinar to cover as much information as possible. So we have sorted out the questions in that way, and there are certain questions that we'll be taking up right now in the Q&A session, which, for example, we didn't cover that information in this presentation. Okay, so we'll be taking that up right now. There were some certain questions specific to IDE. We were expecting Avanti to be joining today in the webinar, but she is traveling. So, of course, you can reach out to Avanti, and she is doing, I think, design for interaction in IDE. So you can just reach out to her, and then she'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay, so we'll go down to the not covered in PPT part. Yeah, yeah, okay. All right. So first, would the university take any of our original documents and return while leaving? Well, no. I think 90%, like for example, they didn't even check my documents. Nor do they want our documents. It's not like in India where they keep your original documents and then only give it back to you when you leave. It's not the case here. I think that's different for people who are just completing their graduation and coming over here. Like ESN can, sorry, ESA can request that you show a proof of your graduation to them, but I don't think that they'll keep it with them. So,
Yeah, they did ask me to show my original documents, and it was like 2 or 3 minutes process. You just go there, show your documents, they verify that, and then that's it. So they'll return to you immediately. So they don't take your original documents.
Exactly. So you don't need to worry about it. But do bring certain original documents that you think might come in handy, but do also be careful with them. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. How does the key collection work after 10 p.m. for do? Yeah. So I can take this up. I am also a resident assistant for my housing. So I can tell you how this works. So the resident assistants would have contacted you by now by email for those who stay at Duo. And if you are coming after 10 p.m., just let them know. They should have also started a WhatsApp group for you guys. So just specifically text them as to you will be coming at what specific time, and then they'll make necessary arrangements. And that shouldn't be a hassle. Okay. But always do remember to keep in touch with the resident assistants, because they are the people who will help you to get settled down in your housing. Okay. All right. Do train stations have free Wi-Fi access? How can one stay connected? Yeah, without getting a SIM at the airport. Fatah, do you want to take this up? I think.
Fatah, you're on mute.
Yep.
Sorry. Trains do have Wi-Fi. The station, I'm not so sure, but inside the train, yes. And yeah, I would say again, because you're traveling, it's good to have a little bit of data, because these Wi-Fi tend to be very slow, especially in peak hours. So if you're coming in like in the morning office hours or in the evening rush hour, it is going to be very slow. So keep that in mind.
Also do take an international roaming pack for like 2 days. And at least for me, I was using Idea VI. So I had to take like I think 2 day international roaming pack just for my travel. There's also like a 1 week pack offered by Geo that you can take, so that so you can make calls and use internet and everything. Um, Also, do specifically remember that to activate your SIM card for receiving OTPs from India. Okay, especially for example, if there's any bank transaction in India, you need to keep track of it, right? So you need to receive OTPs from India also. So activate it, activate your SIM for that. Okay, and that is separate from taking an international roaming pack. Okay, so what I do once in a while is that I just recharge my Indian number with the cheapest plan just to keep it activated so that I keep receiving OTPs. So this is one thing that you need to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's actually a good point that I think we didn't mention. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you have to keep your SIM active, and one thing is, as much as possible, try to activate your UPI and bank things in India, because how it activates is that it sends an SMS from your device to the server, and here that SMS is going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So doing it from
Yeah.
India would save some money.
Yeah, and adding to that, there's also good news that PhonePe works here. So PhonePe works perfectly here. Google Pay doesn't. If you, for example, for me, I had to migrate my Play Store to Netherlands after coming here, just to use the Google Wallet feature, so that I can link my Revolut card to it, and it's very easy. For example, people rarely use cash here. So if you go to grocery shopping at Bahar, if you go to Yumbo or Albertine, so once you're done with your shopping, you can either self checkout or you can just they'll bill it for you. You can just pay using your phone, and that's easy to link with, for example, Apple Wallet or Google Wallet or whatnot. So you can't use Google Pay, but of course you can use Phone Pay. And me personally, I also use Cred, and so I have a credit card bill from India, and I need to keep track of it. And Cred works perfectly. Okay, so but just keep in mind that you need to have your SIM card activated for receiving OTPs from it, and that should be fine for you. Okay, so the IDE questions. Well, I think since Avanti has not joined today, you can take this up with her, and then she'll answer your question.
I didn't know ID required calculators.
I have no idea.
I've never seen someone from
Maybe
ID
there's
use calculator.
something. Maybe it's different because even because I did cover the calculator part, but because so ID, I'm not
Mm.
sure what sort of calculators they use.
Yeah,
Very unsure. I should
yeah.
have made more friends in ID.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
I have
so
a lot of friends in IDA, but I've never seen anyone use
Oh,
calculator.
yeah, maybe Avanti knows better. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And safety iron toe shoes.
yeah.
So I have friends in architecture, but I have never seen them wear any safety shoes for the studio works. So they have this massive studio, and where they go do their models. They work with heavy equipments and stuff. They do have some PPs inside the studio, which you need to use if you need to get like if you need to enter the studio. So I don't think you need to buy a safety shoe, but I think like I can ask Avanti to confirm this.
Yeah. So one thing which I saw in the chat right now is people are asking if PhonePe works for Dutch banks. No, absolutely not. PhonePe is only for example, if you have multiple bank accounts in India and you need to make payments in India, you can just use PhonePe here. That's it. Okay. It's definitely not going to work with Dutch banks. But for Dutch banks, it's 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 not like a UPI system, but for example, I've got accounts in ABN AMRO, ING, and everything. So for example, if you want to pay to one person, you can just scan their QR code and pay directly from the app itself. So that's kind of like a UPI thing. Okay.
Or I
Um,
think Revolut works much better. No, like it's more like phone pay, where if you
yeah,
have your if you can add your friends there, you can just easily
exactly,
send money back
Yeah,
and
exactly,
but
forth.
exactly.
usually,
So
at least I see people use Tiki. Tiki is like
Yeah,
something
Tiki.
yeah,
Yeah,
ABN AMRO, but
yeah,
anybody can use it. You just have like you have the Tiki app. You input the amount of money you want to receive from people, and then you just like send the link, and they can click and pay
yeah.
whatever
yeah,
bank.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's
So
most used system.
yeah. So I just saw a chat right now. You can definitely use PhonePe to recharge your Forex card and everything. Okay, so that's one thing that you can definitely keep in mind. You want to make transactions, for example, to to your bank to recharge your Forex card, you can do it. And also, like what Fatah touched upon, Tiki. So Tiki is like a very Dutch thing. So what exactly is Tiki? So when you come over here, so people in the Netherlands, and this is one thing that you will get familiarized to after coming here. So regardless of whether you go out or if it's a birthday treat, so there's no such treat concept in Netherlands. So nobody pays for anything. So for example, one person will be paying the bills, but soon after you get home, you'll get a split. So you'll have to pay individually for whatever you're taking. For example, even with your IP coach, if you go outside for some drinks, you might think that your IP coach is sponsoring it, but no. Once you come back, they'll send you individual bills. And how it works here in the Netherlands is that there's an app called Tiki, and you can basically split the amount and send it to your friends, and then they can click on the link and pay with any of their bank accounts. Okay, so that's how you split money and you manage your finances. Okay, so I'll move on. Can we take an Indian insurance which covers you abroad, or is it compulsory to take a Dutch student one? Yeah, so I think I have already answered this in the group. As to, of course, you can take and see, nobody's gonna check your insurance when you come here. Okay, and insurance is for you. So you got to be cautious about it. So you got to look at a plan that will protect you if something goes out of hand. Okay. So it's not like a mandatory thing that you'll be put in prison for if you don't have. Okay. But what if something happens to you? You're in a foreign country, you're somewhere else. You need something to fall back on. You don't have all the money in the world. You're already on an education loan. You're spending a fortune to get a master's from here. So you don't want to spend a lot of extra money on something else. So that's where an insurance comes in handy. Now, what the Dutch student insurance does is that it's particularly suited for students. So you can compare between options of I2S, AON, OM. So they'll cover all specific problems that a student can have. Whereas for an Indian insurance, they might not have the required reach, for example, for you to claim money from them if something goes wrong here. For example, I know the experience of a person who broke his leg when he was here vacationing. He took an Indian insurance that covers his travel rather than opting for a more expensive European insurance. And then at the time when he had to claim his money, they just wouldn't respond. Okay, so that's the problem that you might have if you take something from India. Okay.
One thing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
add is that if you're doing any part-time over here, you need Dutch basic insurance that I'm sure you will figure out. But in that sense, insurance is mandatory.
yeah,
If you plan to do any part-time work, even within the university, even for registering to what is that Flex Delft or whatever they call
Yeah.
it,
yes, yes,
with that they will ask you to buy a Dutch basic insurance and they'll walk you through it. So it is compulsory.
yeah. So in that sense, it is
So
legal.
one of
Yeah,
my friend, he was doing this part-time thing and he forgot to update his insurance, and he got this email recently saying that he's supposed to pay this insurance or he'll be fined 480 euros. So like they do keep a track of this. So I would highly recommend getting an insurance here.
okay. All right. So I can take up the next one. If one is planning on getting a laptop, Fatah, can you just scroll down a bit so that I can? Yeah, see it now. Is it better to get it from limited options available at the university's laptop project or buying it from outside? Well, I've got specific to architecture courses. Okay. So for me, I did not get my laptop from sorry. I did not get my laptop from the laptop project. I upgraded my laptop just before coming here, so I got a laptop like after 7 years, and I invested into it. Okay, and I got so strangely enough, I got a really good laptop when I compared prices from India in India to that in the Netherlands. So I looked up sites like Bol.com and Coolblue. So I found a deal that would have saved me around 20,000, 25,000 rupees. So I came here and got from here, and that has its specific benefits with regards to maintenance. So if you buy like a really high-end laptop from India and you come over here and something goes wrong with your laptop, then again you'll have to spend a fortune on it to just get it repaired. Okay, whereas when you when you buy electronics from here, getting it repaired, it falling under warranty, it's a lot easier. Okay, the laptop project is not bad. It's also really good. I think specific to architecture, you'll have to reach out to your seniors or the current second years, and then they'll tell you about it, because the laptop project offers good laptops that are really good for your coursework. Okay, but they are also, like, for example, if you're into something more than just coursework, like gaming or something, it may not definitely work. It's definitely for your coursework, and it's not the most high-end laptop that you get at a reasonable price. So you have to make a decision for yourself as to what is better. Okay, so there's a lot of research that you'll have to do on your own. But definitely specific to architecture, I can't speak for it. So you should reach out to somebody who is doing their architecture course
I
here.
think
And
the one point, at least I can understand, because I
yeah,
was also comparing laptops from the laptop project, was that they have Quattro GPUs, NVIDIA Quattro. I think that is the only place you can get it, like, because you can't really buy like a professional GPU from the consumer market. That is maybe the only difference between buying it from the laptop project. Why you would need it? Maybe for some GPU accelerated computations. For rendering, I think architecture has a lot of like 3D rendering. If it's GPU accelerated, the Quattro cards I think have more CUDA cores or something that supports the GPU computations. Again, very specific. And you have to question yourself, would you be using that? Because you also have some support from the department. You have computer rooms, you have computers that they also have to give you a certain amount of require like needed like allocate some resources for you. So that's something, yeah, you should discuss. But that is the only difference. Apart from that, definitely for the same money, you can get a really nice RTX 3060, 3070 or a 3080 card and yeah, enjoy gaming with the very little time that you have.
yeah. What are the minimum health insurance requirements that must be fulfilled to get the RP? Which of the ones given in the insurance comparisons meets these requirements? Because somebody does not seem to mention these things. So are these just covered by AON or not? Well, so to get the RP, there is no, I mean, no one checks your what health insurance scheme are you on. No one checks it. But it's like I mentioned before, it's for you. Okay. Um, so I am on AON right now. Um, but I haven't claimed it, so I cannot really like give a specific answer to this. But if Jabez and Pata want to take this up,
No, I'm on OOM.
yeah,
I was on AON, but I'm trying to understand. Uh, yeah, the like what tests? I think maybe the person is talking more in terms of the TB test. I'm a bit unsure. That is the question is a bit. Maybe if someone here has asked this question, if you can just put it in the chat, maybe
yeah,
we can clarify this a bit later.
yeah. We'll keep this for last and then
Yeah.
see. Okay, answer. What documents to get from India, if any? What all should I get apostilled? I think we have already discussed this. The birth certificate is one thing you should get apostilled if you are not staying in Delft. Okay, not staying in Delft or XY, you need to get it apostilled. Okay, for those people who are staying in Delft, absolutely don't worry about this. Okay, don't worry about getting the documents because that is optional. Even for those staying in Reiswijk, it is optional, so don't worry. Okay. For people using an iPhone, can the SIM card that we take in NL be portable to eSIM easily, or better to port the Indian SIM to eSIM? I don't use an iPhone. I think Jabez can answer that.
So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, eSIM option is only available in T-Mobile and KPN. So Libara doesn't offer eSIM option. So I think it's better you port your Indian SIM to eSIM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can move on then.
Hold on. Yeah. So Considering the connectivity, is it a good idea to land there by evening or midnight? Many flights reach at that time. Fatah, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I think the only issue with midnight is that the train connectivity is okay. From Schiphol, you do have a train every 1 hour, I believe, and even more during the weekends. But the issue would become from the Delft station, how do you go to your accommodation? Even if it's like 2 kilometers, walking around with 40 kilos of luggage, yeah, not really ideal. So that would be the only limiting factor. You can check in the 9292 app or NS. You will see that the tram stop after 1 a.m. Tram or buses. I have not seen anything run more than 1:30 a.m. So then you have to consider a cab, at least from the Delft station. Cabs are available, of course. Check Bolt. I think Bolt is a bit cheaper than Uber in the app. So I think that is the only limiting factor. But trains, yes, you do have like at least 1 hour, so you should be covered.
Yeah, thanks, Rubo, for answering that. I think you looked it up. Yeah, and you are correct that it is covered, but I haven't claimed it, so I couldn't speak for myself. Regarding the TB test, yeah, just because Fatah mentioned it, I recollected that there were a lot of messages in the group regarding the TB test. And I'll run you through how it works. So the TB test is something that you get to do much later. So people usually are of the impression that you got to do a TB test as soon as you come to the Netherlands. It is not the case. So first, what you do is after you come, you settle down as soon as possible within 5 to 10 days. Go to the Gemeente, the municipality, get a BSN, set up a bank account, and then you'll get a mail from TU Delft telling to go collect your RP, and then you go collect your RP. You can activate Revolut and whatnot after that. You get a refund, and then towards the end of your Q1, you get a letter from basically telling you to book an appointment for your TB test at The Hague. Okay, so you need to go. I think for me last time it was sometime around mid-November where I had to go and do my TB test. The TB test I think is not claimable. You have to pay 50 euros for it. Okay, it was not the case earlier. It used to be free, but right now you'll have to spend 50 euros. And then you'll have to do like a TB test every 6 months. But the good news is that you don't have to spend 50 euros every 6 months. All right. So the 50 euros is like an initial upfront fee that you pay. And then after that, it's free. Okay. But it's not claimable by insurance, is what I know. Yeah, I just saw a chat. So basically, you get your email from the contact center for RP collection after you come here. So don't worry about it. Okay. You'll usually get that maybe during your IP week. That's when it should be coming. If your collection is on the 24th, mostly a week before you collect it. Yeah. All right. There seems to be trains to Delft on a train line every 30 minutes. However, how is the public transport connectivity in Delft after that timings? So Fatah, you want to answer that?
Check the 992 app, and in the tram stop or even in the bus stop, you do have like printed like the timesheets of what I don't know. I've never seen it. I just Google Maps or 9292.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
that should be.
9292 is like the Google Maps of the Netherlands. You find every single
Shows
information.
like good time, and the good thing is it shows delays more importantly, because even Google Map shows you like the timings of okay, at this time you can get a tram or a train. But if there are delays, NS is even faster. 9292 will also show you delays for everything. That's the only purpose I feel.
Okay. Yeah, how safe would it be to travel after the evening hours? Okay, the luggage would make for an enticing target. Any tips or apps for public transport within and around Delft? So I think among us, Jabir is the person who travels the most. So he can take
I
that
mean, not within Delft though.
up. No, of course.
So, I mean, I think, like, no, to be honest, I feel Delft is much safer. I feel really safe in Delft. Even my friends feel the same. So even if you come back home, like I've come back home a lot of times around 3 or 4, it's really safe. But I cannot say the same thing about Rotterdam or Amsterdam. So Delft is really, really safe. Since it's a student city, it's really safe. And any tips for public transport within and around? I don't know. Like just use your cycle. That is the tip I could give you. It's cheaper
Yeah.
as well. So Delft is such a small town. You don't need public transport within Delft. Just use
Yeah.
your cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
I
the
think
Dutch
also
is
like in
also.
there,
Sorry.
the connection is not nice at all in terms of like going to the university. For example, if you're staying
Yeah,
somewhere
exactly.
near Roland or Van Hasseltlaan, you can catch tram one, but that will not take you to uni directly.
They have to go to the center and then come back from there. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a tram line that so it's in construction. So it will be around by the time you complete your first year. So that will basically have a tram connectivity to TU Delft. But other than that, I think considering the costs, so you need to keep in mind that public transport in the Netherlands is one of the most expensive ones in Europe in general. So even the Dutchies, I think, don't prefer taking public transport that much in and around Delft. They just prefer their bikes. So that's one thing. You can bike anywhere
Yeah.
in and around Delft. So that's the most convenient option. And in general, it's very, very safe in Delft. In the Netherlands in general, it's safe. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but as Jabez mentioned, you go to like busy touristy places like Amsterdam or to Rotterdam, Hague. You need to like always be watchful. All right.
So yeah,
And
like as like Joseph said, Netherlands itself is really safe, but I was just being very particular about Delft. So Netherlands, it is a really safe country. Like there is no racism. I mean, like close to no racism, and like it's not the same thing in rest of Europe. Let's say Eastern Europe, there is quite a bit of racism there. So
yeah,
so I feel like really glad that I'm here because Netherlands is really really safe. So you don't
yeah,
have to
you
be
can't.
worried about the safety here. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't compare safety, for example, like to France. For example, if you go to
Yeah,
Paris,
exactly. Yeah.
you can get basically robbed in broad
Mm.
daylight when you're going into a metro. So that's like if you compare like robbery rates to Paris and to Amsterdam, Amsterdam is way, way, way better. But if you compare Amsterdam to Delft, I would say Delft is the safest, right? You don't need to worry about anything. The only thing that you need to worry about of getting stolen here would be your bike, and that is the thing that is mostly in demand over here. So people
Yeah.
can rob your bike. So make sure once you get a bike to always, lock it. There's
One
always
of the tips I've seen these days, one of my colleagues told me that he got like a thing where you can put an air tag inside.
okay.
And you will know
Oh.
if your bike gets stolen.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
planning to
That's
do that. They sell this on
good.
Amazon. It's like
No,
a
but where do you put it in?
that's the thing. So they sell these things on Amazon, which I think
Mm.
is all in bowl also, where it
Mm.
looks like a rear light reflector, but it has like a hollow space where you can put your air tag or any
Oh,
tracking thing, and then just
nice.
so it looks like a reflector, but it has like an air tag in it, and then you can track your bike if it gets stolen. I mean, I
I
feel
mean, my reflector, it gets stolen every time. Every time I go to Three Sisters, I had to get a new light every time. So I don't know. I don't know
that
if it's
that would be very funny
the
if you lose your
yeah.
air tag from your bike.
Yeah,
I've lost it so many times. I had to get 10 euros every time I go to Three Sisters at night. Uh,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all about safety and biking and everything. Also, I saw a question as to how long after coming here did all of us get our bikes. Okay, I would say in the first month, getting a bike would be fine. If you stay a bit far off from the university, I'd say try pushing it a bit faster, like in the first week, second week or so. Personally, I didn't get my bike from the IP bike sale because I used to go cycling in India also a lot. So once over here in the IP week, I didn't find the bikes really good deals. So I kind of reached out to a local bicycle seller and got it from there. Okay. There are also two types of bikes. There are Dutch bikes and also the normal bikes that you are used to in India with the brakes in the front, uh, with the brake pads and whatnot. The Dutch bikes are different. You got to get used to it. Yeah, you got to reverse pedal to stop it. But I think within 2 to 3 days of just using it, you'll be familiar with it. Of course, the Dutch bikes have their own advantage as to they are much more comfortable to ride, and also the maintenance is less. Okay, so depending on whatever you're comfortable with, you can go for that. Yeah. Okay. I just saw another question. Would you recommend getting it at the IP bike sale or waiting a bit? Depends on, for example, how fast do you want to use a bike? Okay. So for example, if you're staying for example, if you're staying at Van Hastelaan or Roland, you would need a bike to come to university for the IP and stuff. So it's not like you can, of course, walk to the university, but it'll take a lot of time. Okay. So definitely get a bike. You can, if you don't want to get it during the IP bike sale, if you get a really good deal in the IP bike sale and you're the first person, go get it. I mean, no one's stopping you. But if you really don't want to get into all that rush and everything, just take a back seat and use that IP week to go explore different options in and around Delft, and you can find like a good deal on maybe Marktplatz, or maybe you can get it from a local bicycle vendor. Okay. Yeah, people do choose to bike during heavy winds and rains as well. That is very, very particular to the Netherlands, and it's not something that we are very used to. Okay, so it can get really shitty during the winters. Okay, the wind is the factor that makes a bike ride comfortable or not. Okay,
I mean,
sometimes the
it's in
winds
Delft,
can.
come on, it's fine.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
I
Living
have
in
seen
bit of
people
shiver.
bike during. I've seen people bike during orange alert. I'm like, bro,
Oh,
what is? Yeah,
yeah, that's a bit like yeah, extreme
I
sports.
think it's a typical Dutch thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
personally do that. So
yeah. But it's okay, you'll get used to it. Nothing to worry about. Okay, I'll move on. Do students buy laptops usually prefer Amazon, or is the offline market better? Is If there are any online websites, could you please share those? I think we have shared it on the group earlier. Bold, Coolblue. And also, you can get laptops from Media Market in Delft. I have never been or bought an electronic device in Media Market, but if Jabez, Fatah, you guys know more about it, you can just comment on that.
no,
I haven't bought it, so I think the sales. I Sometimes MediaMarkt has like some really nice sales, but
Yeah.
again, uh, you have to be on the lookout. They also have a website, so but usually I feel like Bol and Amazon sort of gives good discount
Yeah,
anyway. So
yeah,
I have used mostly Bol or Amazon.
yeah, yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
Bol is faster because it's a Dutch company. They have next day delivery and things like that. Amazon is a bit slower because they don't have a warehouse here in Netherlands, so they ship it from either Germany or France. So it could be a bit slower.
yeah. So I'll also reshare these links on the group again.
Hmm.
I think I also shared like my Notion template earlier on the group. If people remember, I don't know. And it has all these links, Coolblue, Bold, etc., etc. You can just search it up if you find it from the group. So I can just put it on the group. That's not a problem. Okay, on what basis will slots for the residence permit be given? My 90-day MVV visa ends before the third slot, which is on 5th October. For residence permit collection, will that be a problem? Shouldn't be a problem, because your slot for your residence permit will be decided on the basis of when you got your MVV sticker. So that is when they will decide as to when you get your RP. So you shouldn't like be worried about it. It should be fine. You should mostly be getting it by 14 September. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Yeah. So we'll move on. Can you scroll a bit up? Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, I think we have covered all of these.
Yeah, maybe apart from like the eighth question, I think we have covered everything.
Covered everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll head to the chats in that case. Are there any questions remaining? Check it out. Okay, we answered this. So bike will not be necessary during any of the IP activities. Well, depends on whether you stay in Delft or not. Yeah, you'll get to know after you come here. Again, yeah. Is repairing a cycle really expensive? Okay. I was fortunate enough to not have any bike repairs after coming here, and I am among the really fortunate ones. But for example, people who have busted their tire or had to have their, for example, frame fixed or something, or the chain completely replaced, yeah, it is quite expensive. Around 20 to 30 euros you just spend in just fixing your bike. So
Yeah, I would say again, there are some of these like unofficial people who repair bikes. They, for example, at least for a ballpark figure, they take like 10 euros. If you buy and give them the tube itself is like 2 to 4 euros. So it's total of 15 euros, you can get a puncture fixed. But this is also a good time to learn how to fix a bike.
So what about the one in ID though? They have some
Oh yeah.
cycle.
Yeah, I think the ID, like there's
Yeah, I
a
think that is, yeah.
cafe there. They also do it for something like this, 10 euros.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
it's 10 to
cheaper then.
15 and it is cheap. But yeah, you can try it
yeah,
yourself. And I think that also, like, maybe I'm detouring a little bit, but that is one of my things when I decided to buy a bike. I wanted to buy like a hybrid or a mountain bike because they have those latches that can easily be used. Like they just come, the bike tires just come off. So fixing a puncture is way easier in a mountain bike or like a hybrid bike, which has those latches to remove the tires. So that was like one reason why, because you get puncture kits in Action, HEMA, maybe also in other like Decathlon, of course. And then what I do again, it's a bit because I'm like I don't know when I'll get a puncture. So I have this small bike bag under my seat, which has all these tools. I carry an extra tube. I carry some tools to like take the tire off the rim, which is like very little things that you can carry to make sure that even if you have a puncture, you can fix it. But that
yeah.
personal choices, I guess.
Yeah, I see that Harsh has put a message in the group that he knows bike repair. Well, if you really know bike repair, I would say better make money off it, man. I mean,
Euros, 8 euros per puncture.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Undercut the competition.
Just put up a competitive price, like 2 euros lesser than what's generally offered, and then you'll find yourself making big bucks, right?
Even I have to contact him now. I want to
Yeah,
change my
yeah, sure.
gear
Yeah,
wire.
Yeah.
you've already got customers now, man.
It's free
um,
for ISA people, no? So
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. For the board.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. So, so yeah, do we have other questions?
So someone was asking about do you know a second-hand store to buy cycles? Okay,
A
do you
second,
recommend some?
a second-hand
Yeah.
store to buy cycles?
So I think
so
the one store that I know is near the center. It's called Dina Bikes, and the guy is really nice. So I would recommend that. Like if you guys have some
and there's one
recommendations.
near Bahar. I think it's called the Delft Bike Store or something, bike shop.
Mm.
And I personally got it from this like it's a store. It's called Super Feets or something.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right in front of the Domino's
Yeah, 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 yeah. I remember seeing it.
there's
Yeah.
like a parking structure. Again, very close to the Hoven Passage tram stop, where that is a shop. They sell new bikes, but sometimes they have like old second-hand bikes parked outside. And I did pay a little bit extra there because they had like really refurbished the entire bike. So I paid like 180 euros for my bike, and it's still been going on. Apart from like changing tubes, so apart from that, I didn't have to do much.
Yeah.
So
I
you
got my
have,
bike. Yeah, I got my bike from a person called Klooster Man. So he's like an old,
I've heard
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. He's like an old guy who's really good at his job, and he sells second-hand bikes. So you can also look that up. Uh, I think once you come here during the IP, you'll get a lot of like pamphlets being distributed around of bike sellers and places from where you can get secondhand bikes. So yeah, I can put it in the chat. It's called Klooster Man. Hold on. Uh, so Jabez and Pata, you can move on with the questions. I'll just answer some questions.
Yeah.
What is the general price range for bikes? Again, my housemate has bought a bike for 30 euros. It costs more to fix a puncture from a shop than the cost of that bike. So it can be very wild in terms of prices, but they say don't go for a very cheap bike because one, it could be stolen. There is like no like
Yeah.
really very little things that they can say to like say, okay, it's a stolen bike, you have to give it back. But again, just to be safe, if it's very cheap, it's stolen probably. And I would say 100-ish is like a good medium cost in terms of like a city bike with like a typical Dutch bike, which has like those comfortable riding positions and then gears or no gears, so something around 100, I guess. But yeah, you can go for a good bike, spend more, but subjective. Is that all?
Yeah, I see also some questions related to, hold on, just search it up. Okay, about I couldn't find bullet blenders on Dutch Amazon. What are, okay, okay. So you can, I don't know what bullet blenders are.
No, it's that NutriBullet thing, dude. Like you have those very small with like two different size of cups. You can make like
Okay.
shakes and things. But
Ah,
I have made like peanut chutney also in it. It does work.
yeah, yeah.
Just
Like
takes a
I got my blender from here. So you get one blender, I think, from Action, which is for 8 euros or something, and it's really good. It has been working for me. If you want to get a blender from India, of course, if you have the space and whatnot, it's fine. You can get.
around 2K is honestly I think the same price because I remember one of my colleagues told me he bought it for like 20 euros. So
Hmm.
around the same price.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you just want to make like smooth, for example, if you go to the gym, you want to make like smoothies and everything, you get blenders for much cheaper here. You get a blender just for that for around 7 to 8 euros. You can get it from Blocker, you can get it from Action. So, but if you want like a better blender for example, making chutneys and everything, you can definitely get it from India if you feel that's a better deal. Okay, hold on. Somebody who is asking about our class timings generally till evenings for all weekdays. I'm a student of systems and controls. Okay. So it's not like in India where classes start at 8:30 and end at 5. It's not like it's not continuous classes or something. I think most of you might have figured that by now. So you have basically my timetable in my Delft. Then you can choose your courses and then you can see classes popping up here and there. And okay, yeah, the FCB jersey is from 2009, the UCL final. Okay, all right. Coming back to what I was talking about. So you have classes popping up here and there, and then you have some classes, some courses which kind of uh, clash with each other. So you have to choose what class to go to, what class to not go to. So some days you might have like whole day of classes. Some days you might not have classes at all. Some days you might just have one class. So you have to like plan according to it. And also here, the professors here are like super chill. Like no one takes your attendance and no one looks whether you go into class, you come to class, you
Some
come to.
professors do. Professors from
Some do.
Germany do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I saw in the group. I think Meghna put up a message that some professors were
Yeah.
really pissed that people couldn't come to classes.
Yeah.
But generally, from where I come from in aerospace, like professors don't care. And it's like you can usually watch, most courses have recorded lectures up on Brightspace on College Rama, and you can just watch it at your own time. For example, I have a lot of friends in aerodynamics from Reiswijk. So for them, biking every day to university and going back would be a hassle. So some days, especially during winter, they just prefer to sit at home and watch all the lectures. So as long as you study stuff and then you get your assignments delivered on time, you give your exam, you should be fine. So attending classes, not attending classes, up to you. So you have to make that decision. Whatever is comfortable for you. If you want to do hybrid, you can do hybrid. If you want to do it in class, you can do it in class. So it's really flexible here, and yeah. And okay, are swap feeds bikes reliable? Any experiences? Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think swap page is quite reliable, and the thing is like you don't have any accountability if it gets stolen or something. It's
No,
like
with stolen, it's a bit gray because then they say you have to like lock your bike to some pole.
yeah,
Then it's like
mm,
they they just give you a new bike and they say insurance covers it. But
yeah,
yeah, I also mentioned in the chat that it is convenient. I have used it.
mm.
I've used it because I was doing a delivery job and I took like a e-bike from them. For
Oh,
that, it's pretty nice because like the battery broke at least 3 times and I was using it, and I could just go
mm,
into any swap field. I was doing my delivery job in Den Haag, but I could just walk into their store and just get in between my shift. I could get a new bike and then continue my shift and like still go on. So it was really convenient for me to have that.
okay.
yeah,
But the only
and
you have to take a minimum of 6 month membership. And that,
yeah,
I think if you go for the normal bike, is 20 euros, I guess, right now, 18, 20 per month.
around the range, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to pay 120 euros at the very minimum to the company to use it for 6 months. For that price, you can actually get a good bike. But again, um, depends on you. It's very subjective. If you don't really want to repair and you want the peace of mind, if you don't care about spending that 20 euros, then yeah, definitely convenient.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is
Also,
bike insurance a thing?
yeah,
Like
it's
I'm
coming.
not.
No.
So I mean, I'm on OOM extended, so I pay around 60 euros per month. So I think there is a in extended plan you have this one feature where your household equipment and bike is covered. If it gets stolen, I think you can claim it. I think the max limit is around 250 euros. So I mean, it's a part of my health insurance. So I'm not sure if there's a separate thing like a bike insurance.
There
Yeah,
is, but it's for really expensive bikes. So you get some really
Mm,
nice race bikes with, I don't know what, I think every single part is carbon fiber, everything is titanium,
mm,
costs like 20,000 euros. For that, yes, the insurance makes sense.
yeah,
Because
it'll definitely get
mm.
stolen. It'll definitely get
the 30
stolen.
euros as insurance.
Like you can't keep such a bike out in the streets or
Yeah.
Yeah.
something. Even if you
Because
lock it within three
I
locks,
was
people will break
very
it.
embarrassed because I when I got the bike for like the 180 euros, I asked him like, "Hey, can you give me an insurance also for this?" He was like, "No, the bike that you have is not even worth the 2 month in price that you pay. Just chill and go home. Get stolen,
Fuck.
buy a new one."
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, even if your bike gets stolen here, you can't file a police complaint or anything because police doesn't care.
I mean, you
If
can
you
yeah, I
officially,
can,
think
you
I
can,
think you
you
can.
can.
Yeah. Yeah.
you can, but I don't think they'll care enough to track down a stolen bike or something.
No, I think like in order to claim insurance, you have to make a complaint with the police. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So once I parked my cycle at the station, and I came back from I don't know, like Amsterdam some place, and it was not there where I thought I parked my bike. So I thought, okay, I was looking through the process to claim the insurance. So they said no, I was supposed to make a police complaint, but the thing is I parked in a different lane. So I realized that much later. So in order to claim insurance, you have to make a file a complaint with the police. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and one thing more about stolen bikes is when you go to marketplace and buy second-hand bicycles, it's usually stolen bikes that are on marketplace. So if you get like a really lucrative deal for like 50 euros or 60 euros, it's most probably a stolen bike.
It's done by.
So yeah, so when you get you go to see the seller, you must really ask for a receipt and whatnot and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's a stolen bike, I think yeah, better just not take it. But if it's something that's really genuine, you can just go ahead and take it.
What type what type of locks work the best? Okay, you answered it.
Yeah,
Mm,
action, Hema, just a chain,
yeah.
and then they say try to lock both the tires because
Mm,
then sometimes if it's like in my case, the tire can be removed. They just steal the tire and go away. So
yeah.
things like that.
Okay,
And you
that's
have different ratings for the lock, right? The price also differs for different rating because I
I
remember seeing it in Decathlon 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. There's different ratings for locks. So the more safer, it's more expensive as well. The
Yeah,
chain locks. Yeah.
okay. Because I remember like the stores telling me that the AXA lock, it's like a very popular brand, and some
Okay.
insurances like even require you that if you don't use an AXA lock,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot claim
Mm.
insurance. So,
Oh.
but honestly, yeah. I have seen because there was one of my housemates whose bike was tried to be stolen from the station, He had like just a normal, like the lock that you get from Action, and they couldn't really. I
Yeah,
mean,
I wouldn't trust Action's lock. So I
no,
use
no, no,
flops.
break it. That's what I'm saying. Even the normal
Yeah.
Action lock, the bare basic, like the cheap one, they couldn't break it. They tried,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, they couldn't break it.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
like again, the people who are gonna target your bikes don't because you would be having like a basic bike. If they're really targeting your bike, they're probably just doing it for fun, and then they will not have a lot of equipment to break it. So you can get
So
away with the
I
normal lock.
Yeah, so I have this lock called Flops. I got this from Decathlon. So I think it has some 7 out of 10 rating and it's around 30 euros. So I would say it's a good investment and it's pretty long as well. So let's say, I mean, since I have this mountain bike, my tires don't fit into the stand. So I had to park it, outside the pole and it's quite long as well. So it's really easy to tie your frame along with the pole. So it's up to you guys to decide. Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah. 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 So I saw a question as to whether bike parking is an issue in Delft.
I don't
It is
think,
no, it's not an
Parking is
issue.
not the issue, but finding after parking, right? Yeah.
No, bike
See,
parking in the station can be an issue.
yeah.
Especially during like really busy days. For example, like Koningsdag or like King's Day, or like for example, you really don't find a parking place in Delft. So, for example, if you have like a friend who stays close to the station, just keep your bike there. But otherwise, you can just keep your bike like anywhere. You can park your bike anywhere. That should not be an issue. So are we done with the questions in the chat? I think.
Yeah.
There's also one more like question query that I saw in the group that I would like to cover. I think Fatah and me, we can take it up. Is about the gym subscription. So how does gyms work here? And Fatah, if you want to comment about X and how it works.
Yeah. So with the X, I think you can just take the X membership. It makes the most sense, like in terms of money spent per month. Obviously, if you go for the 12-month option, yes. And with that, you can book like sports fields, like let it be beach volleyball. There are these halls where you can play badminton, and also I believe they play cricket on the weekends. There is a cricket group in Delft.
Yeah.
Probably interested people can like get the link later. And then like I personally I play football. I'm part of like different football groups, and then we book the field, like each person books it like for 1 hour, and then we play football in the evening sometimes. So you get all these benefits with just the X subscription. Along with that, you also have something which is called a ticket hour, where you get to do some group activity. Think of it, I think Bangalore people will know this very well, like cult thing, where you just go for group classes. So I have personally done like spinning. I go to yoga sometimes, and you have Zumba and whatnot. You have a lot of activities. I would say this is a really nice like way to like relax for people who like physical
Yeah,
activity.
exactly.
And apart from this X, the subscription that you do, you have like a supplement which is called the fitness supplement. The fitness supplement gives you the access to the gym within the X. So if you really need the gym, you have to buy the X membership. So the fitness thing is only a supplement. So in total, I think you pay like 25 per month, if I am correct, if you take the 12
Yeah.
months. So for total, the supplement of the fitness as well as the X membership. With that, you get access to everything in X. And you can borrow, like for example, if you go to play badminton, you can actually borrow the rackets. You don't even need to have a racket. Same thing for table tennis. You can just, you have everything over there. With your membership, you get access to all that. Without that, you have to buy your own bats, you have to buy your own things. So that is like the benefit, I think. So basic fit, I think, Joseph, you're muted.
Sorry for that. So I don't have an X subscription, although I stay very close to X. But I think X is like a really, really good thing. Like an X subscription is a really, really good thing to have if you are staying in university. What I go to the gym. So what I do is I take a basic fit premium plan, and the difference between basic fit and X is that in X you've got to book slots, and then you have to go during that specific slot. And if you miss your slot if you're late to that slot for I think 2 consecutive of 3 consecutive times, you can be banned from X for like a specific period of time. So
Oh
that
yeah,
is
sorry, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, I think, one. I would argue it's not a negative, but this is often the negative that is quoted because honestly, I took a 6 month subscription when I started my PhD. This is the most I've been to a gym from this rule. Every time I've only supported gyms monetarily. Went there maybe 30 days in the entire 1 year subscription and then paid money for the gym to like thrive. So considering that, I feel like it kept me honest. If I book a slot in the morning and if I don't go, my subscription, like my membership gets like locked for 1 week and I can only book another slot after the next week. So
yeah,
that does help you keep keep yourself, I think, in check. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's good in one way, as in the sense that can push you to work out and just not skip your workout sessions and everything. But at the same time, for example, if you're an incoming master student and maybe in Q1 or Q2 you don't find enough time, maybe it can also be a bit annoying. So be wary of that. Well, for me, talking about Basic Fit, the advantage of Basic Fit is that you can go anytime. So it's some the gym that is there in Delft is open 24/7. So whenever you feel like working out, you can go there. And also, I've taken the Basic Fit premium plan for like 30 euros. So the benefit of that is that you can add another person, you can add a buddy to it, to the plan. So you can basically go together and you can split it for 15 each. Now, down the lane, I also figured out a hack in which I could add another person to it, and then it was like 10, and we were getting to use it. The only problem with that is that your buddy, your friend, whoever you add to your plan, he or she can't go to the gym without you. That's the only thing. So you have to like coordinate with your friends and go together, work out, plan your workouts, and then you should be fine. So that's, I think this is like a really good value for money, this 10 or 15 euro thing in Basic Fit, and then you can go anytime. But if you really want quality in what you do, I would say X is also a good thing. So it's up to you to decide as to what to do. Okay, it's all about X and Basic Fit. Now, I think we have almost covered everything. Are there any questions left in the chat? We can just. Okay. So I saw, yeah, is there like a cycling club in Delft or in ISA? I think it's already
Yes.
answered. No.
I mean, we can start one.
Yeah, we can definitely start one. Yeah.
I
move on.
mean, yeah, definitely. Like weekend trips up to like because I love biking. I have like a separate like race bike for like the trips, and we have done like I think 70 kilometers in a weekend. It takes like 5 hours or something, and you have some really nice bike paths. So there's this app called Komoot. I think some people know it who are doing like these. So there you just click on some plans and you get to do a lot of like these biking trips, which are based on your fitness level, based on your speed. It suggests what is like a good thing. So it is a fun activity, I would say.
Yeah. I also saw questions in the chat. Like we realize that a lot of you are like some of you are not in Delft, and some of you have found your housing in Yapad and Reiswijk and everything. So whatever we have told here, does it apply to Reiswijk or not, or does it apply to the Hague or not? The thing that you have to understand is that for example, Indian stores, places where you can get your spices and everything, whatnot. So it's usually not like a typical Indian store where we get most of our stuff from. So it's like, so there are a lot of Turkish stores in and around the Netherlands. Okay, for example, Bahar or Uzalk or Pulat, and these are all Turkish stores, and they sell a lot of like Indian spices and everything. And you can also find them in and around Reiswijk. So you can definitely shop your spices and whatnot from there. Nisarga is like an exclusive Indian store, and of course, since it's exclusive Indian, it can also tend to get a little bit pricey. If you ask me, I have never been to Nisarga because I find it a bit on higher side. I usually do all my shopping from Bahar and Osaka, and that's where I find good deals. So if you're staying in Reiswijk, that shouldn't matter because you can find everything there. Also, I saw a question regarding to being an instructor at X. Well, you can, of course. I mean, nobody's stopping you. You got to search up the X website for open vacancies, and you can them like an open application, and they will always be willing to receive your application, and then they'll let you know on the basis of that. So usually for being an instructor at X, it's a very good part-time if there is an open position. And if you stay like close to X, it's like a good deal. You can just go and like you can get paid for what you love to do. But I think they have specific requirements as to, for example, being like a fitness instructor, you need to have certain certifications and stuff. So you need to check that up on the site. You just mail them and they'll let you know. That's also one part-time path that you can explore, and it's very doable. I've got a lot of friends who work at X, either at the reception or at the bar or somewhere else. So it's completely doable. Yeah. Okay.
Last 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, we have the last 10 minutes, and then we can take questions for those 10 minutes, and then we should be done. Are we eligible for healthcare allowance? Yeah, Fatah, you already answered it,
I've
right?
already answered that. So, I mean, yes,
Yeah. Is it cheaper to buy a subscription for X for the whole year compared to 3, 6, 9 months? Again, Fatah answered it.
it is.
So, okay. So if we don't have any further questions, I think we can end the chat and we can end the webinar early.
Yeah, because we are always reachable through the group. I think
Yeah.
by this was. So, okay, we have one question. I think I can
One
take it.
question. Yeah.
Because the rental allowance, the insurance allowance, and all of this is through this Dutch government website called the Toeslagen. I have mentioned that in the chat. So once you get your PSN, your RP, and everything, you get into this network, the Dutch, like the knowledge base, and then you can open this once you create another point that I think I missed mentioning is the DigID, DGD. Once you create that, you can use that to log into all of these government websites. Toeslagen is a website where you go in and then you have these options still in Dutch, so you can use Google Translate, and then from there it's pretty self-explanatory. Also, they have like a toll-free number that you can call. For example, I had made a mistake when I was applying for my insurance allowance where I did not consider the start of my contract. So I could just call. It was a bit of a wait time, maybe 30 minutes, and then I could just ask them like, hey, help me with this, help me with that, and they were pretty helpful. So I think once you come here, that's something that you can figure out. But to apply for the rental allowance, there are some rules also. This has been covered previously. So I would suggest that maybe you can go to the second webinar because we did talk about housing quite a lot. And I don't want to repeat myself here.
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure whether we covered this, but did we talk about the DGID anytime?
I think we didn't. That's what
We
that's
yeah. Okay. So that's a very important thing, and yeah, that we forgot to cover then in that case, because obviously you'll get your BSN number, your RP, and everything, but there's also something that you need to set up for all administrative processes in the Netherlands, and it's called the DigiID. Okay, you can search it up. So I can also, I think Fatah, you can put it up in the chat. DigiID. Okay, so for example, if you want to, for example, apply for allowances and everything, you basically, or if you want to log into StudyLink, so you most of you are familiar with StudyLink, right? So right now you have your login credentials, but after coming here, you can log into StudyLink using your DigiID. So how do you log in using the DigiID? Is basically you have this app on your phone, and then the app will display a code, and then you go to the site, and then you put the same code, and then you log in automatically. Okay, and this is very useful when it comes, for example, in StudyLink in the second year, you can also choose to pay your tuition fee in like 9 installments. So if you want to upgrade to that, if you want to do, if you do want to set up like a direct debit mandate with your Dutch bank account, you can do that using your DigiID. So DigiID is something that is very important after you get your IP. So do set it up. We'll also be discussing that in the group further. Okay, so don't worry about it. Also, I saw one very important question as to one person asked whether he can stay at the airport overnight because his rental contract starts the next day. I'm not sure about staying at the airport.
good. I answered this in the chat, but you could because I remember I had went for an early morning flight because the tram connections were so bad. I went the night before, and I did stay there.
Okay.
So the only thing is all the shops are closed, everything is like dead, and you see like this world from another side which you didn't know existed, where you just go, you just sit there. You have some spaces that are open, and then even before the boarding gates, there are some places to sit. And yeah, I just sat there and I found an outlet I could like work a little bit. But
Yeah.
you could, but it's not very comfortable. If you
Yeah.
have an option, try to find a place for just a night. It should
Yeah.
not be very expensive, because if it's just a hotel for one night.
Yeah. Also, one very important thing, if the rental contract start date is what that is stopping you, so I would say, please contact your resident assistants, and they can probably give your keys a day earlier. Like if it's a day or like 2 days earlier, you can figure out something with your resident assistants, and then you can stay here at your place before your rental contract starts. Provided the rental contract start day is given on a contract, because Duo also has a lot of things to figure out before you come. There's also cleaning which goes on. The whole room has to be made good for you before you come. So as long as that is completed before you move in, it should be fine. So the resident assistant will look into that, and if it's possible, you can maybe stay like a day before your rental contract starts. But again, if it's some practical reason as to, for example, no connectivity or transport or something, you can of course explore the option that Fatah said. But again, just because your rental contract starts, staying at a hotel for like 1 day or two, it's gonna be a bit hard on your pocket. It's gonna be expensive. We'll take the last couple of questions and then we'll wind up. Okay. Okay. Lounge access at the airport for future. Okay. Yeah. So if you do have credit cards, or international credit cards, do look up the benefits that they offer. They do offer some complimentary international lounge access, etc. For example, I had like a priority pass with my credit card. So I have like, I think around 10 international lounge visits every year. So even when I travel through flights, I use the lounge, and it's like super comfortable. Also, if you have taken a Forex card already, like the Forex card that I took through Thomas Cook, it offered like a complimentary international lounge access. So you can also access the lounge, and that will really come in handy when you're traveling over here, especially for those long flights. For example, technically it's just 12 to 13 hours of travel, but with all the layovers and everything, sometimes it can take even longer. So a lounge really comes in handy for you to stay. So use that. Look up all the benefits of your credit card, your Forex card, and then use it to the maximum when you're traveling here. Last question.
Yeah, I answered it.
Yeah.
You can pay, because for my Labara, I could just pay
Yeah.
with my Forex card. It goes through the payment portal, and
Yeah.
it's not limited to ID, so it's fine.
Yeah. I think you need to set up like a SIM only plan, right? For Lebara.
I think again,
Yeah.
the best price is like I think for the 2-year contract, that is a SIM only thing,
Yeah.
where you pay the cheapest. If you just take a monthly thing, then I think you pay a little bit more, maybe €1 more, but you can always get started with like that plan and then move to the SIM only. Or yeah, I'm a
Okay.
bit sure about the words, but it is self-explanatory in their websites.
Yeah. There's one quick question that I can also answer. Should we take the Dutch course that is offered by the university? Well, that depends. Well, the Dutch course that is offered by the university, people think that, Dutch, it's just another language and you can learn it at your own pace. Well, it is intense and it takes up some time. So I think it's offered every quarter, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it is
yeah.
offered quarter.
So you
So
can take it at your own time. I think don't rush into learning Dutch right away. I think most of you have already gone through Duolingo, learned the basics and everything. That should be good enough for you once you come here. And then if you think you find time, you can pick up Dutch using the course. But again, Fatah can comment on it more.
yeah, because recently I took the course. I did it in the fourth quarter last academic year. So it does take a lot of time, because it's like 2 hours every like, or 2 days. So it's 4 hours a week. Apart from that, you also need to spend, let's say, another 4 hours to like learn, because there's a lot of self-study. In the
Yeah.
class, you're just like coming and writing a test. There's a test every class. So yeah, that is also there. And then you have the speaking part of it, where you're just having a conversation in a It's like a group discussion, but in Dutch. So all of this it does take, because it's all also in the evening. So it's like 5 to 7 or 7 to 9, something like that. So it does take a lot of your time, and it can get very intense, at least in the beginning when you're getting used to it and it's all like new words, everything is new. But think about it after the first quarter. That's the advice I can give. The rest is, yeah, all of you are adults. You can make a decision yourself.
Yeah, and also there are certain courses, for example, like in civil engineering, like also think about the job market that you're gonna head out to after you complete your master's. So, for example, if your job market is primarily based in the Netherlands, then, for example, taking a Dutch course during your master's program would definitely make sense, and it's highly recommended because it'll like up your CV to another level when you start applying for internships and jobs. But if you don't find yourself being in the Netherlands after completing your master's, then I would say just learn Dutch casually so that you can just blend into the society and whatnot. So it's up to you. You guys are adults and you can make decisions for yourself. Yeah. So I think we are stopping the questions. We are already in time of 2 hours. And thank you guys for joining in. And you're almost here. And it's been a long ride. We all know about it. We have all been through it. And that's the reason we are helping you in each and every doubt, even in the group and everything. So we do hope that we can also help you even further when you come to the Netherlands. And if you have any doubts or anything, don't hesitate to put it on the group or reach out to us. All right. So I think that's it from our side. And yeah, this will be recorded, and we'll also put it up on YouTube and on the group as well. Okay. So bye, guys. Ciao. And
Bye.
we'll see
Have a
you
nice day.
around. We'll see you in August. We'll see you here. Bye bye. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.